Okay, welcome back as we continue with Chapter 28 from Book 5 of Caesar's Gallic Wars. Okay, so, Arpineius and Junius, the things which they heard, they bring down or report, okay, to the lieutenant. Okay, notice here in English we would probably understand this here, and also notice that we're missing this V here. We've got some syncopation there, so this is a perfect form. Okay, the Aaron tells us that. So Arpineius and Junius report to the officers, the lieutenants, the things which they heard. Okay, Caesar will often leave that pronoun out that we just have to force into the English. Okay. So these guys, now I think this is not Arpineius and Junius. I think this is the officers that they reported to. Okay, because I think that's the shift with Illy instead of maybe he or something like that. Okay, so those guys, having been disturbed, thoroughly disturbed, right, with hair, okay, by this sudden situation, okay, even though these things were being said by the enemy. Okay, that's very important to watch out for here in this episode. Okay. Nevertheless, okay, even though they were said by the enemy, nevertheless, they were thinking that they should not be omitted or overlooked or neglected. Okay. And they were disturbed very greatly, okay, by this situation. Okay. The next clause is going to explain what they mean by this situation, which especially disturbed them. The fact that, and then here we go, okay, a state, undistinguished and weak of the Eburones, okay, by their own accord to the Roman people, or on the Roman people, war to bring Ausum, okay, having dared, and then remember Ausum is a semi-deponent, right? It comes from audeo, audere. We get our word audacious from this, right? Oops. Okay. It's not audio. Okay. And scarcely was going to be believed. Oh, okay. So here we've got quod is going to be the subject of erat credendum. Okay. The fact that it was scarcely to be believed that a state undistinguished and weak of the Eburones by their own accord had dared to make war on the Roman people. Okay, like there's something fishy going on. If these guys, there's no way they could beat us, are attacking us, then something's going on. And so, to a meeting or an assembly, the thing they bring or report. And among them, and notice existed here, this is a present tense verb, and a great dispute stands out, literally, between them or among them. Okay? So they're having an assembly about this, that's what Romans do, but they're obviously not all in agreement about what they should do in this situation. So Lucius Aurunculeius, okay, and many tribunes of the soldiers, and of the first ranks centurions, and notice the chiasmus here, okay? You've got your nominatives of the soldiers, and then of the first ranks, you have centuriones, another nominative, okay? So you've got your A, B, A thing going on here, right? Okay. So a lot of these guys, okay, Lucas Aurunculeius, okay, many tribunes and centurions, okay, nothing rashly must be done, and out of winter quarters. This is an interesting word. It's without a command, with a non-command, right? Okay, of Caesar, going to be left. They were thinking. So they were thinking that nothing rash should be done rashly, and that it should not be left out of winter quarters. It's one of those funny impersonals that we're getting used to, right? Okay. Without the command of Caesar. We shouldn't do anything. We shouldn't do anything without consulting well, okay, and wisely, and we should definitely not be leaving winter quarters without Caesar's approval. And then they further argue, notice here, vis from volo, meaning to wish, okay? This is very often used as an enclitic, to exaggerate perhaps or hyperbolize a number, okay? So however great the forces, even of Germans, okay, to be sustained, to be able, by means of the winter fortifications they were teaching, or they were saying. Oh, so they were teaching that however great the forces, even of Germans, okay, would be able to be sustained with our winter fortifications. Okay, our walls are strong enough to handle this. Okay, that the situation or the thing was in dative of purpose again, for the purpose of proof. Okay, this thing was as proof. Okay, that situation. What situation? The fact that that they sustained very bravely, right, the first attack of the enemies. Okay, and then ablative absolute here, or maybe not absolute, with many wounds having been endured. Okay, besides or in addition. Now, here the understanding's got to be that it was the enemy that endured many wounds. In other words, the Romans were able to fight bravely and harm the enemy, so much so that they ran away, right? Okay. So, that the fruit thing, or the grain situation, right? Okay. Grain situation was not pressuring them. Okay, so apparently they felt confident in their food supply. And meanwhile, okay, both from the nearest winter quarters and by Caesar, or from Caesar perhaps, okay, aid would come. Okay, assistance would come. And finally, what would be or was more fickle or trivial or shameful, okay, comparative with these comparatives, right, Laelius and Turpus, what thing would be more shameful or fickle, or Laelius is tricky sometimes, than to adopt a plan, okay, about the most important matters, okay, this is often translated matters of life and death, okay, from an enemy advisor, okay. I mean, what would be more stupid than to do all this, to get up and pick up and leave, okay, in the middle of winter, when there are dangerous people out there, and we don't even have Caesar's approval, and this just doesn't make any sense. And then even more ridiculous is the fact that it's an enemy that's giving us the advice to do this. Okay, remember, he promised them safe passage through his territory. I wonder.